Okay, so right now I am currently playing a game with Paul Carrero. Okay, he wants to tell me a couple things before we start. Yes. Alright. So Paul Carrero is doing this thing where he is just going through, he wants us to record our own game and give our thought process, explain it while we are thinking. Right? Alright, so he's going to add some time to our clock if we get in time pressure. So, again, this is just casual. The game quality does not get affected by the time pressure. Okay. Nice. Yes. Alright. So while he's explaining, I'll just go over my opening. So if he plays d4, play knight f6 and e6. If he plays e4, I can do Taimanov Sicilian, or what I usually use, Nimzovich defense with knight c6. If d4, then e5. Try not to filter yourself so that I can get a sense of the things that are happening in your mind. Okay. And if you play c4, then we play e5, knight c6, and f5. The reverse Grand Prix attack. If he plays knight f3, then we play a reverse Catalan. V and Shadow, the bishop, play knight f6, or knight f3 if we were white pieces, which is what I play as white pieces. I play Catalan as white. Like, even if you think that certain variant is not the best, or anything going on in your brain, just let it out. Alright? Alright. And other openings, birds opening, then we just play a reverse Dutch. Catalan, if you play Stonewall something. And finally, drum roll, let's see. If he plays knight f3, I could also just play King's Indian with knight f6. Just doing this and castling. But I would like to try reverse Catalan against knight f3. So major openings: d4, knight f6, e6, and e4, then knight c6. I think if he plays e4, I will just play knight c6 and not c5 and e6. From time to time, I might commit a mistake on purpose to see if you are capable of exploiting it. Okay. Some other times I just commit mistakes because I'm alright, and that's it. Are we ready to roll? Let's see. Thanks, and you too. Yep. Yep. Alright, let's see what he plays. c4, e5. Alright, knight c3, knight c6, this is all typical. And he's playing this, okay. So if he plays e3, then we play d5. Play knight b4. The one line I'm concerned of is queen b3, but we do have this dual threat here of knight slot into the very nice d3 square. Check. He is very good knight there. Queen to b3, so he's accepting the fact that his king will be misplaced. The knight's protected, so not too bad, but the knight is protected. So now he wants to get this pawn back. This is the one line that I did not. This is the one line that I forgot to study in this line, Queen b3. So I believe there's some kind of gambit with c6. I believe there's some kind of gambit, but I just don't like that. But still, I really like this knight d3 check. I might just have to go down a pawn or something, but yeah, I think we're gonna go with this check and then play what is this, e4. It's shutting down his bishop, more or less, from defending the pawn, and giving my knight a great support. The knight blocks the pawn, which blocks in his bishop, which blocks in his rook. His queen is blocking this pawn, which blocks in his bishop, which blocks in his rook. So this knight is becoming great. I really am happy with this knight. Even though I'm down a pawn, hopefully I'll be able to recover the pawn back. But if I can't, then I'll just have to see what goes on. So he's putting his knight here, where he will defend this pawn. So now it's very important that we block this. It's very important that we block him with the piece, so that he cannot move forward. And because, of course, this is a very weak pawn, he is cut off from the other pawn, so he is a target. I would like to eat him because I'm down a pawn. That is his extra pawn, so I'd like to target it. But right now I can't, so we just block him to make sure he can't play anything like, make sure he can't play anything like this and try to just exchange the pawn off. So that is my idea behind this. Also, it does watch over this square. Okay, so now he is not defending this pawn anymore. So what I can do is I can bring this knight to here. This is a mainline trick where we attack this, but again, that doesn't do a lot because this bishop is blocking the queen, so that's the downside. And also a downside of pushing the f-pawn is that this queen b3 is watching our king once he castles, so that is also important why we need to block the pawn. But I'm really happy with this knight here. The reason why I would push this here is to prevent him from moving his knight, because he'd need to guard the square. I'm just wondering what to do here. Do I worry about this knight? Do I continue development? Do I try to regain this pawn? I'm a bit confused as to what I should do. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna try and get the pawn back. I'm gonna try and get this pawn back, probably with this, because I prefer having the queens exchanged. I'm a positional player, so I like playing without the queens. I don't like to risk tactics because my tactics are very bad. Yes, I know I should fix them, but yes, and I just realized this happens a lot. I make a move that I think is going to help me, and then only after I make the move do I see what my opponent can do. That always happens. I really don't want to give up this strong knight. However, I'm gonna have to give up the pawn, or I'm going to thanks. So if I exchange this off, if I exchange him off, then he is, if I exchange him off, I get the pawn back, but still, I'm really, I really like to have this guy on the board, but I have no choice. And after I exchange my dark squared bishop off, I'm gonna have this light squared bishop on the same color as my pawns here. so that's not good. But I have no other choice. If I want to get this pawn back, which I think I do, I'm gonna have to do that. And then after I exchange him off, I can castle because I'll have my queen covering this diagonal. So I don't want him to take because then that leaves a very vulnerable pawn of mine there. However, it still would block his bishop in. Although, if he takes with this pawn, I'm sure he'll take it with that pawn. He has an isolated pawn here, which I can't get to. But I can get to this guy. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't see any checks. He could come down here, but then I just block with the bishop. Okay. So his bishop here is completely inactive. Although, okay, now he's stopping. Yep. Makes sense. But then again, there are weak light squares all over the place. So I'm going to play c6 just to give my knight support and to block the bishop, or just render the bishop ineffective. So now he's coming down here. So do I play b5? No, because then it's weakening this, so he could play something like d4. But then again, the reason why I played c6 was, the main reason was to protect this knight. So I'm a bit confused as to what to do here. That was a very good move, a3, stopping my knight from coming in. Now he's opening up his bishop. So I gotta be careful if I want to play this move or not. Do I castle? I think I'm castling here. Because I realized that he could start an attack on this pawn. Usually white does do this fianchetto and this English, this Grand Prix attack. But I'm happy with the fact that I have the only knight and that I've shut his bishop down. So now he's targeting this, but the good thing is my king and my rook is not on that square being pinned down, so now this g-pawn is free to move. Although I see he is coming down here. But the rooks aren't connected, whereas I can easily connect my rooks, although you could just come right here. No, I don't want to create a weakness here. I don't want him to come down. So maybe I play here. But then he pushes. And I'll just develop my last minor piece and then put the rook, because this is a target. I really want that target. So I am putting my bishop here. It just looks good. I like that move, although he is putting his bishop right there. Oh, goodness. So even though he has a great bishop, he doesn't have a great bishop here. Although I guess 1, 2, or 1, still, he won't connect his rooks. 1, 2, 3, he'll have disconnected rooks. 4 moves and he'll have bad pieces, so I think I'm okay here. Okay. So now he's coming to the G file, so I should probably block him. Also, I do have my light squared bishop, so because he's on the same color as my pawns, I can defend this bishop from my rooks. I can defend from his rooks with the bishop. And he has his rook here, so he's probably coming down here and then coming up here, but then I just play here, then he comes there. But no, I have my knight covering it. Okay, so that's good. I have my knight covering that square. But yes, I want to target this pawn. And he's opening up his bishop. Very good play by white. What do? We gotta get our rooks developed. If he takes with the bishop. Now we go 1, and he gets his bishop. He takes. we take, and he plops his bishop down. Not good. I think that's the only thing we can do, and then he's got a passed pawn, which I wanted to target, but right now I can't. I guess we have to take it. I guess we have to take this pawn. Because if he take, my pawn will be lost if I don't take. Bishop takes. And now I don't think I want to exchange my light squared bishop off. Although, because he could get this in, and I don't want to have this. And if his rooks start piling in, I have my light squared bishop to support the pawn, so he won't be able to take it with his rooks. Should we start with the king? Yeah, I think we should start here because we want to stop this. Although now I have just blocked in my bishop. So now we can push. But focus on the good side. We have eliminated a square for the bishop. If necessary, we can come here. Still keep the eye on the square. Although, again, we have to keep an even greater eye because we have that skewer possibility. So if he's coming here, 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 I don't think he's going to be doing that anytime soon. So I think we're still okay. Plan is to put rook here on the opposite color of his bishop. Now we have to come here. Right? Yeah, I think so. So maybe my bishop would be good here because then I have a passed pawn. Yeah, the rook is protecting the knight, so that's good. So if I take with the bishop, although that renders my bishop pretty ineffective, I have a passed pawn. So yes, it is a big moment. Plus, we block off the aisles for his rooks. We block off those aisles for his rooks. So that is also pretty good. He has this bishop, but it's not doing anything there. I'm happy with this. If I could get him here, or if I could put him on a different square, then that would be nice. Here would be okay. Here would be great. If I could get him there. But the problem is I can't because of these guys. Now the bishop's coming there. So if I press this pawn, it's weakening this diagonal. So maybe I push this one. I think I push that one. Oh, no, he's coming here. He's coming to there. He's coming here. No, then I can just move up. I can just move up one square. And then kick him with this. No, I don't want to play this because it weakens my dark squares. So I think I'm playing this. But are there any different things that he can do? Are there any different things he can do against that? Takes. We have opposite colored bishop endgame. Maybe it's a draw. Although he has a passed pawn here and I have a passed pawn here. I have a pawn majority. He has a pawn majority in the center. But I have a passed pawn. And he has a passed pawn. So we have majorities here and here. These are the majorities here. I think we are playing this. And I'll have to get my rook over as quickly as possible. Because I don't want to fall for tactics. And then he could probably push here. But the idea is to keep him out of that square. Now he's attacking my weak pawn. I did not take that into account. if we could do this. No, then I have 2 weak pawns. If I could move this rook over, then he is pushing. Then he just leaves it there. Then he plays 1. Again, this is my light squared bishop, so it is a pawn on a light square, which is the color of my bishop. If I need to, I can push this guy here, I think, and then the knight drop back. But I have to take control of the square in front of him so I can move it, which is going to be pretty hard. No, I can't move there because of this. How is it so far? Alright, now he's coming in here. See, so I don't want to play this move here, because he is pushing his rook here and attacking this pawn. So I may have to just push this guy up 1, and then bring the knight back. No, but then that opens up another guy. 1, if he moves his rook, 1, 2, 3. No, I have to do this one. 3. Takes. Now this rook is in trouble. This rook is in trouble. This rook is in trouble here. These pawns are connected. I think this is the move. Plus it gets me off the second rank if he gets in here with a check right here. So I think that's the move. Now he puts his rook, now we put the bishop, and then the knight has to come down. But the problem is, see here, I'm just defending the pawn. I am just defending the pawn. Plus he's cut me off from over there with the rooks. Then again, I do have to get my rook or this knight. Now he's got his monster bishop. See, the thing is, because you swap the dark squared bishop off pretty early, the dark squared bishop, because he's putting all his pawns on dark squares, he ends up being a monster. You can get him active like this, or out to here, because you get the pawns on d4 and e3. You get all kinds of outposts for this guy, and he's crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does not work. We need to get control of this square. I can do this. I can do this here. But then the problem is that opens up the bishop, so my knight is forced to stay there. And look at that. He's guarding my rook from doing this with the passed pawn. If we could get an opposite colored bishop endgame, that would be really great. We could get an opposite colored bishop endgame. I could just sit with my bishop and defend the pawns. Actually, no, I can't. I cannot do that, because then he gets in here and he's attacking both pawns. Or with this pawn here. Because I can't advance it, so my bishop is stuck there, and then he brings his bishop down here. Yeah, I'm not really liking this position. But what I really need to do is I need to take control of this square. The only way I can do that is with this guy. And he has 1, 2, 3 looking at it, and I have 1, 2. So I have to be very careful with what goes on here. How can I get my knight controlling? Either here or here. Here is impossible, so we go or here. But no, there's no way from there we can do it. What could a plan? I can't push. Could have sacrificed the knight. No. No way I would lose this pawn too. This light squared bishop, he is eyeing that pawn down. I could put the knight. I need to get my knight in control of some of these dark squares here. But then he's in line with the bishop and he isn't protecting the pawn. This bishop needs to support the pawn. This rook needs to support the pawn, and the bishop is cutting off the squares from which the rook can defend. He has set his position up very well. White has set his position up very well. I need to make a move here. Although he is white pieces is being very nice in that he is offering time for when the person for just when the person is low on time. So his quote student. Thank you, Paul Carrero, for doing this nice thing. This is very good. So this is about the only move I can see. And then I could gain a tempo on the bishop, because then if he takes, then he has a... Then I can win this pawn. Okay. I think that's nice. Excuse me. It's getting to be winter. So I think this is okay. We're defending the pawn. We open up this file for the rook. If he has to sidestep with his king, we have a chance of grabbing a pawn. Then he's putting his pawn here, because then when we come here, we take his bishop and one pawn is protecting the other. So I believe he has a very good position. And when he brings his pawn here, he is taking a firm grip on this square, which is very bad. This, if we go back, I don't know why my computer's lagging. C6. What was it? Yeah, B6 here. This move is weakening this square. I should probably try to advance it as quickly as possible, but I can't because of that. Now he's playing D3. So my plan was to bring this here. If he takes there, then we take. I think that's fine. Yeah, we're taking this bishop. And he comes down here, he's attacking the rook, then we come up here, then he comes back, we take, he takes, we take, and our pawn is safe. And this pawn is again weak, although his king is not, his king won't be in check. But then we threaten this pawn, and we still have our queen side majority. This pawn, I think, might backfire on us. He might. He could possibly backfire because he's offset. I'm going to have to use my bishop to connect these. Now he drops his bishop back, so we have to defend this again. We can do this. We can do that. We can do this. There's no piece here, so it's not pinned, so that's good. This one is pinned here, but if we're doing this, we can just push. Alright, so if we do this, I'm just worried because we're putting him in a dark square. I'm just worried about that. Then he's coming back over here, threatening the pawn. Here, maybe we can just come back to defend. And then if he comes back, we can get draw by repetition. But still, I think white has the more attacking position. Oh, he's breaking open. He is breaking open because he has a much better development. He is ripping this open, and he is... This is pretty much my only... Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4... No. Do we take or do we let him pass? We take advantage of the fact that his bishop is not looking at the pawn, but he takes with check. I think we take here. I mean, then he's just got these two monsters. Or does he take with the knight? Does he take with the knight? Or the rook, I mean. Still, we have two defenders, but I really don't like the fact that my rook is cut off from this back rank with the bishop there. And the bishop is looking at that square with here. Oh, I messed that up. Well, only thing we can do, and I can resign. Good game. Well played. Well played. You had a very nice position. I'll stop the video and message it to you on YouTube. Thanks for the game. We can go in analysis board. Yes. Wow, he had a huge advantage at this point. Oh, up here. E4, F takes. That was the mistake. Bishop G6 was better. Okay. Just losing the pawn immediately. What was here? What was our mistake? Oh, look at that tactic. We could have won this pawn. And thanks to this one here. I see, we could have taken that, and that would have given us that bishop. B6 was our mistake here. And then, once again, he gives us this opportunity. Mistake, and that. And then he just took it. Now he's defending the bishop. F takes with a blunder. Let's see now. Rook takes. What does this do here? King F7. Now the rook comes over. But how can that be more dangerous than... why doesn't he take here? Oh. Now we get this guy marching in. King D2. And then knight takes C8. Okay, so we still have this. Now rook can take... Oh, no, he can't. He has this, I have this, and a pawn majority, and another pass pawn in exchange for the skewer, or the exchange loss. But that was pretty good. That was a pretty good game. Thank you, Paul Carrero, for that game. And we will stop right here. Come on, and we stop recording.